My name is Alan Gilligan. We're here in a place called Darren Road. It's just outside Roscommon town, the north side of the town. So we're in the west of Ireland, just between, say, Roscommon and Tulsk, for those of you who pass on the main road there. If you do, you'll see my sign actually up the crossroads there, Gilligan's Farm, with a lovely burger on it. So you know where we are now. And we're here in one of our sheds where we rear calves for our beef enterprise. Yeah. The farm, my great-grandfather came here in 1915 approximately, and it was through the Land Commission that the farm here behind me, where we're standing on this site, was established. And it's really grown from that, I suppose, you know. Back then it was a very different kind of a farm, I'd imagine, to what it is now, where people were just trying to be self-sufficient and feed themselves, really, you know. So there would have been probably potatoes, pigs, sheep, cattle, definitely milk, those dairy cows here as well. You know, the same as any other farm in Ireland at the time, you know. So the people just, hens, I know, were a big thing for my granny, God love her, you know. So that's how that would have started. And I suppose as things progressed through the decades, you know, it started to become more of a business, and I suppose people were trying to figure out ways of making a living from it rather than just feeding themselves. And, you know, it just evolved no more than any other farm into what it is now. So this is a beef farm, really. We do grow some crops as well to feed them, so it's a beef/arable, but mostly beef. And occasionally we buy in some lambs as well to feed and finish. So the breeds that we have, they're all Hereford and Angus cross cattle on the calf to beef enterprise that we have. And then we'd also finish the more conventional suckler breeds like Limousin and Charolais cross heifers. That'd be the main breeds, and so it's really, yeah, that we'd have. We're in the west of Ireland. The weather, you've seen it here today, Sean, how hard it is. We've had snow showers and wind and coming at you all directions. So, you know, we try and keep them out as much of the year as we can. But there's times of the year when that's just not possible with the rainfall that we get here. This year we tried something new now. We grew some kale, and that worked quite well when the weather was in your favour. When it gets very wet, it gets a little bit messy, to be fair. But I suppose you could say majority, 9 to 10 months of the year, they're actually outside. And we figured a number of years ago we wanted to be more sustainable in the way that we feed our animals. And, you know, we kind of have a more holistic approach to the whole thing. And there's a lot of different sustainability being bashed around a lot. Like there's economic sustainability, I think, and then there's environmental sustainability. But they intertwine a lot, to be honest about it. And we wanted to have something, you know, that we could maybe stand behind what we're selling and say, okay, well, we actually physically grow these crops to feed to our animals, and in turn, you know, we have this prime quality steak, you know. So it's a good story, I suppose. And it's a great way of recycling the nutrients then as well. Like you can see behind me here over my shoulder, these cattle are on straw beds. And it's one of the best form of fertilizers we have. But it comes to its own, I think, when it's actually ploughed back into the soil the following year, and it grows next year's crop. Do you know, it increases the organic matter, and it's great for the worms, and it's, you know, there's a lot of pluses to it. And so the whole thing kind of, it snowballs really, you know. So we grow spring and winter barley. We grow kale. We've tried oats before and wheat in the past as well. I think oats definitely has a role to play in establishing these calves' rumens, and that's something I'd like to grow more of. Yeah, it's something that has a lot of benefits. We'd also grow early silage, so May and June we try and harvest as much silage as we can, so when the grass is at its youngest stage and it's very digestible. So we put a lot of focus on that. That's a big one. And we do all that ourselves as well, so that we're getting the optimum time when the weather is right, because sometimes you only get a window of a day and a half maybe, and so we just take out what we know we can get within that period and get it in and get it right. I don't claim to know everything about nutrition, but we really depend on companies. We partner up with Alltech, who are a huge global multinational company and started from Irish background, you know, brilliant, and Devonish Nutrition as well. So look, we use their advice a lot on nutrition. We get all the ingredients that we're using tested to see what's actually in there, what energy, dry matter, all the various aspects, protein that is in there. And those guys then will actually come back and say, okay, if you want to feed your animals and give them a balanced nutrition diet, you need to be feeding A, B, C and D in such quantities, and it's just so technical now. But I can see, and I've learned a lot over the years, the benefits of actually following their instructions. And I find that fascinating to see. If you feed an animal the correct way and looked after it correctly, you're going to get the genetic potential within them is going to come, and they will grow correctly. And it's amazing to see what can be achieved when you do it right. You know what? They're probably looked after better, and there's more focus put on their own diet than maybe sometimes our own. To be honest about it, like they're not being overfed, Anthony, and they're getting the right balanced amount of everything. Do you know? So
they're well looked after.
They are. Yeah. Well, they have to be. Yeah. That's the way it is. Yeah.
I suppose because our animals are so well looked after all their lives, they have a really great nutrition in their diets, and their stress is kept to an absolute minimum. I suppose when we have them ready to send to the factory off the farm, we really get a great finish on them, and this is so important, to have quality meat, and it's so important that they're at the right stage before they're slaughtered with fat covers. So this is of huge importance that this is done in the most stress-free and humane way as possible. And we're so lucky that we can do this here on our own site. Like, we've no long journeys of transporting animals from A to B, because the factory and farm are so close to each other. And from an animal welfare point of view, this is of huge importance. And personally, I feel it's something we're so passionate about, and it's great for our business as well that we can say that. The day of the slaughter then, nothing is left to chance. The vet, he arrives out in the morning first, and he has a quick look at everything that we have ready for that day's production. And our team are all highly qualified and skilled workers, and they work to really the highest standards through the whole process throughout the factory. During the slaughter process of the carcasses, the whole factory is designed in such a way that the carcasses never touch the ground. This is really, from an environmental, I suppose, food standard point of view, this is really important, that the carcasses are properly dressed and they're cleanly presented. Then, after that, they're put in what we call a wet chill. And basically, we have to reduce the temperature of the beef slowly. So it runs at 8 degrees over 24 hours. And it's important that it's done correctly, that we don't dry out the muscles too quickly. After that, then, they're typically 5 to 7 days of a hang time. They're brought into the deboning area. They're broken into the forequarters and the hindquarter, and the various cuts then are taken off them, depending on what customers want for that particular week. There's loads of things we can turn them into. There's an infinite number of ways you can break them down, from steaks to burgers. So look, at our customers are varied, really. We have people ordering online through our website for home deliveries, and that's a great service that DPD provides, next day delivery. And then we have customers in what's called the food service, which mainly consists of like hotels and restaurants and really anyone within the catering industry. And we're so lucky to have partnered up there with Dole Ireland, and we can distribute stock anywhere within the island of Ireland next day. So it's brilliant, really. Sure, look, Ireland has a great reputation for its beef. Huge thanks to the Department of Agriculture, really, I suppose, that have really pushed the traceability agenda over the last number of years. If you think about it, every animal has its own individual passport. There's a register kept of this for the farm, and then we can scan that passport into our IT system when we're ready to run it through the abattoir. And that barcode contains all the information about the animal, its breed, its weight, its slaughter date, and it's used, I suppose, as the foundation for the traceability, really, within our systems. And we can track every piece of meat one step forward and one step back. So it really works, We also have an EU export license, and this, it lets us sell our goods anywhere within the EU. And, it's something that we're going to use, I suppose, to grow our business into the future. We've been exporting to Germany for the last number of years. And basically, because we are a self-contained family business, we can assemble a pallet of the best of our Irish beef and get it transported to within the EU within 48 hours, which, like, when you think about it, it's an incredible service. And to get something out there in that time frame, ready to go on the shelves.